Hello friends, imagine you are given this data set to summarize. Maybe you are asked to summarize it by the genders, or by the sectors, or by the membership dates, or by the cities. You are asked just to summarize it and find out some information from this table. Or let's say, for example, you are asked to find out how much was donated by each sector. Like in this case, we have the sectors on one side and we have their donations in another column. How do you do that? Or let's say you are asked to find out how many people or how many members were registered per year. Like in this case, where we have the years and then we have how many members were registered in each year. How do you go about that? Are you going to say, fine, let me use formulas, because definitely formulas can give you this information? While that is possible, formulas in this case can be very time consuming. So what do you do? The best tool to use in this case is the pivot tables. And that is what we are going to consider in this tutorial. My name is Blessing. You're welcome to my channel. And in this channel, it's our goal to simplify tech concepts for you, so that if there is anything that's been difficult, you find it here, it will be simplified just for you. And as we said in this video, we're going to be looking at pivot tables, how we use them, and all that. Now, what are pivot tables generally? They are smart tools that help us summarize large data sets, bulky data sets in mere seconds. We are going to look at how to go about them. But first of all, let's introduce this table to you. Here we have the names of the information about maybe donors, okay, to a particular cause. Here we have their names, here we have their genders, their email address. Here we have the sectors where they work, I believe. Here we have the date they joined the club or they became donors as their membership date. Here we have how much they have donated so far. And here we have the city where they live. So now we are going to see how to insert a pivot table and how to use it to summarize this table in any form at all. So quickly, let us see how to do that. Take, for example, if I want to insert a pivot table in this sheet or in another sheet, how do I go about it? So I go to my Insert tab, and there is this provision here that says Pivot Table. I could click here directly, or I could just click on the drop down, and it gives me these 2 or 3 options depending on how what is on my sheet or in my sheet. So here I have, it says from the table range, that is this table I already have in my sheet, or from an external source. We are not going outside this sheet, so we just click on from table range. You can just click here and it just does the same thing. So here I have the name of my table. If actually you have inserted a table in your data set, you will have this. If you haven't, just select the range of your table that you want to analyze, and that works. These 2 options are asking where I want to insert the pivot table, in a new worksheet or in this existing sheet. So I can just select either. I want it in a new worksheet, so I leave that selected. And when I say OK, I have these 2 items in the new worksheet. Let me just drag that over here. So this is my new worksheet. This is where the pivot table is going to appear. And this is where the work goes on, right? This is where I do lots of shifting, moving, and all that. So here we have the names of all our columns. I hope it looks familiar. These are the names of the columns we have here. So we have all of them in this opening here, in this drop down. Is it drop down? In this window here, okay? If I would call that a window. So people call it a pane. So in this pane, that is where I will have all of this. Now, just below that, I have these 4 areas, these 4 boxes. What do we use them for? Very simple. Let me say I want to find out, let's use an example, how much was donated by each sector. So I could just drag the gender and by each sector. Okay, let's go to sector then. So I will drag sector and put it either here or here. What's the difference? Let's just see. Once I drop it here, the sectors are arranged in columns, right? This is the grand total. Don't worry about that. The sectors are arranged vertically like this. Okay, is it vertically? Yes, definitely. Their donations will be under each of them. But if I drag it into the rows, we'll see how they are all arranged one on top of each other. In columns, they are arranged side by side, but in rows, they are arranged one on top of the other. So what's the difference? Basically, how you prefer it to be presented, or your intention. If you drop it here, you are just trying to look at them one at a time, or just sort them as it were. If you have it in columns, like in this case, probably you're just trying to compare side by side. I think I prefer it in rows. So that's what the column and the row boxes or areas, that's actually what they do. Just present it in a way that we can see them in different ways. How about the values area? What do we do here? Now, there are a lot of things we can do with the values, but just know that anything you drop in the values box will be calculated depending on the value or on the items or the data inside that column, right? So any column you drop here will be calculated. So let's say, for example, I want to calculate, as we said, I want to calculate donations by each sector. So definitely it's the donations I'm going to drop here because that's what I want to be calculated. When I drop it here, Excel suggests it's sum that I want to just sum the total of the donations, and then it separates it per sector. And that's what happens here. If I don't want the sum and I want the average, for example, let's say I want to calculate the average donation per sector, and I'm saying Excel, it's not sum. Excel by default will just say sum, but I want to say no, I want to change that to average. I'll click on the drop down here and then go to value field settings. That's where you see all the possible calculations that can be used to summarize your data. So I click on average and I say okay, and that sum changes to average. You could even see it, average of donations is no longer the total of donations, the sum of donations. So I have the average donations by each sector, but let's leave it as sum. Okay, that's what we want to do. What did I just do? That was wrong. Okay, let's go back and say sum. Where are you? Over here. And we say okay, and so it returns the sum of donations by each sector. All right, now what if we want to count? Let's remove this. What if we want to count how many people are in each sector? I could just drag this sector and still drop it here. And this time around, Excel looks at the information inside and finds out that, let's look at our table. In the sector column, all we just have are the names of the sector. So it cannot be added, it cannot be, we cannot find the average or whatever. So Excel just does the counting. It counts how many people are in it, and it counts everything and then separates it per sector. So that's what happens in this value area. How about the filters? Now we have, let's go back to sum. Let's just go back to sum. This, okay, that cannot be summed. Let's just go back to the donations, okay? Cancel this. Let's remove this. We could leave that. We could leave that. You could drop two values there. You can drop two values there. There is nothing wrong. So here now you have the count, how many people per sector and how much they donated. Let's just leave those two. Now, what if we want to further filter these, let's say by the gender? So what do we do with this filter? Let's just drop gender in the filter area and see what happens. While this information is for everyone, I can further filter it and see probably what males give me, or let's say for males. And when we say okay, females, that's females. Here I have donations by females in art and culture. I also have the number of females in art and culture. Same thing for all the other sectors. Donation by females in trading and how many females are in trading. If you hover over it, you will see the value. I could also go over it again or click the drop down and select on males, and I have a change of that. So that's actually what we do with the filter box. Let's just get rid of that. So as you can see, I dropped several values. I can also drop several values here. I could bring gender and drop it here, and everything is splitted. I don't like the look. Let me take it to columns and let me see what it looks like in the columns. And here you go. All right, I don't like this here. Let me remove this. I had this here, and then I also had this here. Sorry about that mix-up. So this is what we had. So now I have splitted this. Okay, let me bring it up. Oh, beautiful. So what do I now have? I have splitted. This is looking a little confusing. Let's remove one. So I have splitted the donations into females and males. Can you see that? So here I have, what did I do? I just had to drop gender here, and then everything is splitted into females and males, not just the sector donation by everybody. Now I have that for females. Now I have that for males. So you can play around with this stuff in any way you like, and you will see the power of pivot tables. Just drop any item you want to analyze in any area. Now let's try something else. What if we want to find out how many people joined the club or became donors per year? Let's do that. So let's remove everything, or let's just create a new sheet and insert our pivot table in that. So let me create a new sheet. Now if I want to insert the pivot table here, it's just like going backward, right? I could come here, say insert. In the first example, we inserted from here into a new sheet. Now I want to go backward from here, and then I want to pick that, right? I want to just go backward from the new sheet. I want to select the pivot table. So when I say that, it's asking me where is the table that you want to use. So I will come to where I have my table, click somewhere inside, and then select everything. And then I have my table name, table 1, and then existing worksheet, since I already selected this. And when I say okay, the pivot table is dropped here. So the example wanted to say, okay, membership date, how many people joined in each membership in each year, right? So I will drop membership date in rows. This is what it's going to look like. And then it groups the dates into years, quarters, months, and even days, right? Let's leave it that way. Excel does that automatically. If it doesn't do that, all you just have to do is to group it. There is an option for that, but let's not look at that at the moment. Now we want to just find out how many people per year. So I have dropped this here. I can also drop it in the values section. So I to just do the counting and separate it per year, and that is what we have. It just counts everybody in 2018, but you have to make sure that from your sample data, definitely that this is formatted as date. If not, it's not going to work. So that is that. Everything is calculated by year. Now let me click on this sign here, and it opens up 2018 into the different quarters. Now I can see how many people joined in each quarter. I could even click each quarter open, and then I see how many people joined in each month. Isn't that beautiful? So that's the power of pivot tables. You can't actually, you may be able to achieve this with formulas, but imagine how long it's going to take finding out how many people per year, how many people per quarter, how many people per month, and so on and so forth. So that's the beauty of pivot tables. It actually makes analyzing data very easy. I hope you've learned something beautiful from this. Please, if you enjoyed what you watched, don't forget to like and to subscribe. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified every single time we'll drop a new video. If you have any question or about pivot tables, please feel free to drop it in the comment section, and we'll be very glad to answer. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful time, and see you in the next video. Bye.